orbital.
RCP chamber pressure looks good. Doubling up. Roger roll, Atlantic.
Water towers can fly!
Tango Delta nominal.
Fighting outside speed off. Bring in SCE off. Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
What is up, space fans? Thank you for joining us today for a Starlink launch out of LC-39A. I am Jack Beyer, your host for today, and you can see my information there in the upper right corner. And I am not alone, thank God. I am joined today by none other than Adrian Bile. What is up, Adrian?
Great to be here. Hello, Jack. Hello, everyone. Excited to see the sixth flight of SpaceX this year, and we are only starting with February.
Yeah, it'll be the third launch this week. It's madness. I love it.
Yeah.
And we've also got out in the field, I'm not sure if we have positive comms with him, Chris Gebhardt. Chris, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you right now. Hopefully, you can all hear me. Thank you all for joining us on the sixth launch out of Florida for the year so far. Incredible.
My goodness, they're firing these things off like full salvo style. Well, thank you, Chris. We had you loud and clear on that. And also joining us today is none other than Das. What's up, Das?
Hey, Jack. How's it going? I am ready to see yet another rocket launch today, even if it's just an internet rocket.
Go, internet rocket, go. Hey, internet rockets are good too. But what's the GIF? It's like a GIF of a whole bunch of like cockroaches or something, and it's like it's another Starlink or something like that. That thing cracks me up every time. I have no idea, but I see it pop up on Twitter. Anyways, and of course there is Michael Baylor in the background, pulling the levers, pushing the buttons, doing all the steampunk things. Just imagine him in like a human-sized hamster wheel that he has to keep running in order to power the stream. It's not quite like that, but it's close. Anyways. Thank you. I see the 5x5s in chat, so I know we're coming through good. You can see Chris is adjusting the camera there. But what I always like to say at the start of streams is don't forget we do an interactive thing here, and we like to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, type at NASASpaceflight into chat. Your question will pop up in some nifty software that Michael put together, and we'll be able to answer those. Pro tip, if you want your question answered, ask a relevant question. I mean, maybe we'll answer a Starship question here and there, but really today we're talking about the Starlink launch from LC-39A, which will be launching 49 satellites.
I like it, Jack. There are no stupid questions, just irrelevant questions.
Yeah, and even those can be good questions too, but it's a matter of relevance. The relevance does not weigh in on quality of question. It's more about timing, right?
There's like a Venn diagram there where the circles they overlap a little bit, and it's like good questions, relevant questions. The best way to get your question read is to ask a good, relevant question in the middle of the Venn diagram.
Yep, there you go. That's very solid advice, Das. Thank you.
I feel like I'm entering a presentation about questioning right now. Is this a rocket launch, or is this about getting the right questions?
This is a question webinar, Adrian. This is what it is,
yes.
and I'm hosting it. There, I said webinar. Everybody can be happy. Right off the bat, Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. They say, is this launching the internet to a cruise ship? No, we don't give anything to cruise ship. Actually, I don't know. You could probably put Starlink on a cruise ship, huh? And Rough Rider Show, thank you for the support. Asking, what is the coldest weather Falcon 9 has launched in? I certainly don't know that off the top of my head. Does anybody here? And if not, we can follow up on that and answer it when we do.
There have definitely been a couple of days in the upper 30s, low 40s for CRS cargo flights that have launched to the International Space Station, and that's about as low as can go. Each rocket has their own. I don't think we've ever specifically heard it or encountered it yet for a Falcon 9, but definitely high 30s Fahrenheit, low 40s Fahrenheit, down into single digits Celsius. The Falcon 9 can withstand, definitely.
Very cool. And then we have a question, of course, Alex asking what the 4 towers are for, but there are no 4 towers, so it's irrelevant, so we're not going to answer your question. It's not in the Venn diagram.
Yikes.
Oh my God.
Wait, I actually have that. Michael, if you can hop to present real quick. I've illustrated rules. Oops, that's the SpaceX feed. Sorry. I don't know if we have one that's just that. I know Michael is doing some other more important things right now. We'll get to the instructions on how to ask questions later.
Okay, we can do that later. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Here we go. Yay!
There we go. You can see the NSF Question Guidelines. There are good questions. There are relevant questions, right? These are good questions, relevant questions, and you want to be right there in the sweet spot in the middle, not outside both those.
Makes sense, yeah.
If you ever wondered if NSF would ever run out of topics to talk about during Starlink launches, no, absolutely not.
Adrian, we've kept streams going for like 12 hours before watching tanks in Texas. I think we can riff with the best of them. Let's see. Here's a question from John Burr. What shell are these satellites heading to? Chris, if we got you on comms, you want to take that one?
You do have me on comms. So these are heading to the 4th orbital shell. So this is an orbital shell that is inclined 53.22 degrees to the to either side of the equator. And it's the same shell that we've been seeing them launch a salvo of missions into here over the several weeks, sort of building out that sort of identical shell that to the first one that they spent all that time building. Part of the key to building out the Starlink constellation and getting it to good speeds for everyone at all latitudes around the world is to really help build out the 53-degree inclination shell. So that is the one that we are going into here today, and it is yet another southbound journey for the Falcon 9 today.
Excellent. And that might weigh into our next question here from Jay Wade, who is asking, why only 48 satellites? Does that have to do with like the mass of the satellites and the return profile of the booster?
Yes, indeed. So a couple of different things here. So the second stage has to do a bit of a dogleg maneuver. The first stage will come down in the northern area of the Bahamas. So the flight path sort of skirts the northern side of the Bahamas, and then the second stage has to do a small dog maneuver to get into the exact 53-degree inclination. So that's why there are 49 Starlink satellites on board this particular mission to account for that mass and how much mass you can actually have as the payload to still allow the booster to retain just enough propellant to make it to the drone ship downrange today.
Love it.
I'm slightly confused as to what a small dog maneuver is, but I'm pretty sure that was dog leg.
I meant dog leg. If I meant
you said dog leg, yeah.
You said dog leg, but you got like spotty audio just on the word leg. So it was a small dog maneuver.
Small dog maneuver.
Ross, I was gonna call that out. I'm sort of mad you beat me to it, but I'm grateful that you did because it's hilarious. The small dog
wacky minds think alike.
Yeah, sure enough. Oh man, thank you, Chris, for that comprehensive answer. And I know we're gonna get asked. I don't see a question in the queue yet, just because I'm doing many things at once. But what drone ship is this going for?
Yes, this is going for. Sorry. Go ahead, Adrian. I forgot you were here. Sorry. Go ahead.
This is going to a shortfall of Gravitas, stationed 640 kilometers downrange. So hopefully, a shortfall of Gravitas will get another. A rocket on its deck and keep the perfect record, because so far, if I recall correctly, Shortfall of Gravitas has a perfect landing record.
Nice.
And you know what other record we should talk about a little bit today? The payload fairing reuse record. Today. 1/2 of the payload fairing on this mission has already flown 5 times and will be flying for a record 6th. So
5
that
times?
is it's already flown 5 times. Yes.
5 times. Yeah, thank you. I just want. Yeah, we can all do it. We can all do the reference at once. It's okay. I still don't comprehend how they can reuse these fairings after they've taken a dip in no less than salt water. But yeah, it appears to be a solved problem if they're going to be reusing them 5 times.
Indeed, and the recovery ship, the recovery ship Doug will be the one that will fish the fairing halves out of the water today.
Excellent. Go Doug, go. Let's see. Nick Lewis is asking, is SpaceX still trying to do 2 flights with the same booster in 24 hours? That was a long ago stated goal, right? And I'm not quite sure if they're still tracking towards that or think that's possible or what. But what do you?
It does not appear that they are. The fastest we've seen them turn a Falcon 9 around has been roughly 24-ish days, 24, 25-ish days in that area. And while that is incredibly impressive for a vehicle, there also just doesn't seem to be a need to do it. And of course, the only way you could turn a booster around that quickly would be with a return site landing. There's no way you could do 24-hour back-to-back with a drone ship. So it doesn't appear that there's a desire to do it anymore, even though that was a stated goal. I think that did to Starship, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, you came in a little bit broken at the end there, but I think we can all gather what you're saying is that the turnaround in under 24 hours thing is kind of being focused on Starship at this point, given its architecture sort of being optimized for that. But hear me out, Chris. What if it lands on a drone ship and then the drone ship goes to an oil rig that has been refitted to launch Falcon 9s? Could they do it that? No, I'm just being silly. They don't have plans to do that. That's not a thing. Don't listen to me. Okay, moving on. James Juries, thank you so much for the support. They say, oh, you're a shuttle fan? Then name every mission, payload, launch date, and time, and people that flew on the shuttle. I don't think we have time on this stream for it, but rest assured, Chris G could do it. But there we go. There's our requisite shuttle mention. We are all able to keep our jobs. Musical Wolves, thanks for the support. Not going to answer your question because it's not relevant.
Let's not like call that out every single time. Like, nope, sorry, irrelevant. Next question.
I'm mostly just giving, because Musical Wolves is a frequent contributor, and you know they were I know they were asking a silly question. I'm not trying to be mean, but I guess I'll stop. David Dean, thank you for the support. They say great coverage. What will be the next SpaceX launch that goes beyond LEO to geostationary transfer orbit? Do we know what launch that will be?
Give me a second.
One. There was your second. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's see. While Adrian looks that up, I'm going to add some more questions to the queue, and you can see from the timer we are roughly 30 minutes away from launch. From I keep wanting to say Slick 39A, because we've just done two back-to-back launches from different space launch complexes, but this is just LC 39A.
If I'm not. Like, it could be USSF 44 on Falcon Heavy, because that goes to geostationary. So that could be the next one, I think, if I see that correctly here.
Very cool.
That is not going to LEO.
Thank you for that, Adrian. Let's see. Shiny Bad Guy says yesterday's footage was beyond amazing. The only thing missing was a Hans Zimmer soundtrack. Thank you, NSF. Well, thank you, Shiny Bad Guy.
Whoa, Hans Zimmer.
Right? We all put a
Nice.
good amount of work into that, and I'm glad that you all enjoyed the broadcast. Trigiv, thank you so much for the support. They say my super chat last stream got skipped due to rushing at the end. I DM Crispy and got an answer, but I want to hear from you all. Do you think Falcon Heavy boosters can land on each drone ship, like a dual drone ship booster landing? That's possible, right?
I'll see why not.
They,
Yeah, I mean,
well, I've got a car alarm going off, but the answer is yes, they can. In fact, that is what is planned for USSF 44.
Yeah.
awesome. Good, nice little relevant follow-up question there. Demand from Tennessee, thanks for the support. They say great launch coverage this week. Any news on progress of the Falcon extended fairings? I don't think we've heard anything. We just know that that's a thing that's coming due to SpaceX winning that national security launch contract, right? Extended fairings are coming. We don't really know more.
Yeah, basically that. They are somewhere, but not yet here.
Surely in work.
And definitely in work, because they are, in addition to the sort of nebulous payloads the DoD might want them for, the Department of Defense might want them for, they are 100% necessary to launching the power and propulsion element and habitation module of the Lunar Gateway. So they're coming, 100%.
Neat.
And that's 2024, right? So, if I recall
That is
correctly,
the
Gateway 2024.
Yes, yeah, about 2.5 years from now. Yep.
Very cool. Let's see. Here's a question I'm going to ask, and then I assume while we are searching for the answer, I will go through some more of these messages here. But Robbie's asking, how many Starlings are in orbit right now? It's a couple thousand, right? Go, Adrian, go.
I'm Googling today.
Yeah, there are a couple. Yeah.
All right, we'll
definitely a couple thousand at this point, yeah.
We'll get an exact number here in a minute. In the meantime, Sean Carroll, thanks for the support. They say, do these Starlinks have laser comms? Are they
Yes,
using
they
that
do.
at all yet?
Yes, they do. These are the version 1.5 satellites, which do include the laser interlinks.
Nice. Very cool. Corey, thanks for the support, the kind words. Taylor, thank you for the support. They're saying, flight-proven booster. It was weird seeing a new rocket this week. Keep up the great work. Enjoy yourselves today. It was weird seeing a new booster with NRO 87. It's just so shiny. Musical Wolves, thanks for the support again. How much does a paint weigh on the Fairings? That's like, nobody's going to know the answer to that, Musical Wolves, but it's a good question. Good question.
So
what
was the question?
How much
What was
does
the question,
the
Jack?
paint weigh on the Fairings? I assume they mean for
Oh.
the logos and stuff?
Yeah, the logos and some of the other things. Very, very negligible. I think everything that they would add to the payload fairings would probably come in at under 100 pounds each.
SpaceX knows, and they still paint them. So
Yeah, it's
Like-
very, very negligible in terms of like what your performance hit to orbit would be. It's very, very negligible.
That makes sense. Das,
Yeah.
I think
So
we need a third ring to the Venn diagram that is, like, answerable.
answerable.
Yeah, like, is the question answerable?
Nice. I
So-
like it.
I did my best. This might change daily because sometimes they deorbit satellites, but it should be in the range of 1,868 satellites.
All right, very
There we
cool.
go.
Thank you for that. It's like somebody asked that question, and then it's like, well, we don't have Jonathan McDowell on this particular stream, so...
Yeah.
Right.
Need to ask the orbital police about that.
Oh, man. Caveman in Space says, what is the expected lifetime of a Starlink satellite? Are older versions still used, or do they get replaced as they get new iterations?
It is the second part of your answer. They are designed to be replaced as newer iterations come on board. Sticking in my head as the operational lifetime of a Starlink, the idea being that they are so cheap to manufacture and to get up into orbit that 5-year lifetime allows you to be constantly iterating the constellation and stuff like that for new technologies.
Makes sense. Let's see. Thank you again, Caveman in Space, for the support. Jack Fisher. Hey, you got a good name, Jack. I pushed the wrong button and it disappeared. No. Well, Jack Fisher just became a Pad Rat member, or maybe it was a Red Team member. Either way, I'm a failure for pushing the wrong button. But thank you so much, Jack Fisher, for the support. If you guys don't know, I'll do my spiel. We've got a membership program. It has different levels of support. You can support us directly. You get different perks, like members emoji, which I'm going to throw a Doug in chat right now, because Doug is the Fairing Recovery ship. You get items. You don't get items. You get preview videos and pictures on the YouTube channel. At higher levels of support, you get Discord access. So that's our membership program. Absolutely integral to doing what we do. So thank you so much to Jack for becoming a new member and having a cool name.
I'll add that to the circle. I'll put a circle that says "Be named Jack," and your question's more likely to get called.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I am nothing except, what is it? I don't know if that's nepotism or what, but yes, I like my name.
Good. It's like a quad Venn diagram now. Good, relevant, answerable, and name is Jack.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. I appreciate the alterations there per my needs. Let's see. Brightest Gaming is asking, what's the maximum reuse on the fairings? This one might fall in the not answerable category because I don't think we've gotten a number, right?
That is correct, but not answerable in that we don't know that, as in not answerable in SpaceX might not even know that yet. Considering the original idea was to catch them and not let them hit the water at all.
Yeah, I still
they might
that had
not know
worked.
how many they're going to get out of them.
I mean, it makes sense. They'll recover them after each launch, and the Life Leader fairings will be heavily inspected, and if they're good to go, they'll launch them again, and if they are not, they will not, and they will have learned. But we are not SpaceX, so we do not know the answers to these questions, but one of these days, I think we'll get an Elon tweet or something, but that's a good question, Brightest Gaming. Thanks for asking. And don't forget, keep your questions coming in at NASASpaceflight, and we will be able to answer your questions as we are getting closer to launch. We are about 2.5 minutes away from that T-minus 20-minute vent, so keep your eyes on the prize, which is that Falcon 9 right there, and we will look for that to see that that fueling is progressing as expected.
Yeah, talking about venting, we can see some venting going up the rocket at this point. We can see it on the on the main body of the rocket right now. Some white clouds at the bottom at this point. So yeah, Falcon 9 is coming to life.
You know what's nice, Adrian, I imagine for you, is that you don't have to keep a spreadsheet of various events and try to discern when T0 will be. We know when T0 will be because this isn't a Starship stream. Although, I don't know, maybe you just like doing spreadsheets, so it's a bummer.
Both. Like, the answer is both.
I love it. Let's see. John Lynch asking if these 48 satellites have lasers. I believe we answered that, and the answer is yes. Right, Chris?
Yes, indeed, and there are 49, just to be clear.
49. Thank you. Let's see. Austin, this is a kind of a complicated question. What determines what pad the Falcon 9 launches from? I mean, it's a matter of polar versus not polar, except for the stupid polar corridor, plus pad availability. I don't know. What were you going to say, Adrian?
Yeah, it's determined by many factors. For example, there's also always the fact that Dragon missions can only launch from 39A.
Crew Dragon, right.
Crew Dragon, and Falcon Heavy, as far as I know, as well. So you always have to have these in consideration, and then you think about, okay, when I have these at fixed points, then you need to think about how do I rotate the pad between maybe different needed configurations between these rockets, and then you get into like basically in a rotation where you have fixed points, and then you look at what missions you have at certain times that are fixed. It's a complicated process, I would imagine, that is all about looking what you have to do and then filling the gaps what you can do. And there's the 20-minute vent, by the way.
There you can see the lines on the transporter erector being purged.
Yes, indeed, a nice healthy vent.
Fueling. Go ahead. It is a healthy vent. Look at it go.
Indeed, and look, the Pelican's even impressed today.
Nice.
That one is looking at their... Oh, it almost dove into the rocket.
Yeah, that was awesome. Hopefully it got a little snack.
For a second, it looked like it was looking down at the rocket.
But yeah, this is our big T-minus... But this is our...
I'm not sure if we lost Chris there or if he started to talk and then trailed off.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you could hear me. I didn't want to talk over you if you couldn't hear me. No, I was just saying our big 20-minute vent marking a good visual indicator that fueling of RP1 kerosene into the second stage is complete, and they are now purging all of the line for the start of liquid oxygen loading to the second stage. Meanwhile, the first stage is being fueled simultaneously with RP1 kerosene and liquid oxygen, and things are progressing to a liftoff at 13:13 local time today, 1:13 p.m. Eastern.
Just under 19 minutes from now. I'm sorry, I have to call this out. Ralph Chilton in chat says, "New Space Pope," which tickled me because, you know, it's the white smoke means there's...
Futurama.
I love it.
Yeah, let's hope it's always white smoke, because black smoke would be bad at this point. So
yes. Oh, man. So good. Let's see. Mike LeBlanc, thank you for the support. Dave Wolf, thank you for the support. They say, would NSF consider sending someone to the Bahamas to catch booster landing on a drone ship? Could you get close enough to make it worth it? I don't know. That's a big I don't know on that.
Yes,
I mean,
I'll go.
Yes, yes, Das would go. I don't know if we could get close enough to make it worth it.
signs up to go to the Bahamas, yes.
But yes,
I can work it out.
Yeah,
sacrifice.
Yeah, you know, the landing burns and part of it are probably visible from certain parts of the Bahamas, depending on exactly where the drone ship is in relation to some of those islands. I think a bigger question is, what is the exclusion zone around the drone ship? You know, how close do they actually let people get to that from a exclusion zone perspective? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have an. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Des.
Go ahead, Adrian.
I have an idea. We could go on a cruise ship and then
No, no cruise ships allowed. I need to measure. Like I'm using Flight Club IO here, and I don't have an easy way to measure exactly how far off the coast that drone ship is, and it doesn't look like this is illustrating the closure area, like the keep out zone around the drone ship either. But that would be very interesting to look into. I mean, you could see this. I'll tell you that when they go north, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is up the coast a ways up here. And when they're doing their drone ship landings, I almost wrote on my screen with a permanent marker. Here's the right one. When they're doing their drone ship landings off the coast of North Carolina out here, I'm in Charlotte all the way over here, and I can see the landing burn. I can definitely see the entry burn, and if I'm up high enough, I can see the beginning of the landing burn from there. So would we be able to see that down low? It looks like those islands are a lot closer than that, so you could certainly see it. Would you see like the legs unfolding and stuff like that? I'm not sure we'd see that, but whoa, sorry. I'm definitely game to give it a try if anybody wants to send me down to the Bahamas.
Yeah, I mean,
Please.
let's send you. Let's do it.
Please don't throw me in that briar patch.
And of course, the views you're showing there, Das, are from flightclub.io, a super awesome resource for launch photographers and for just visualizing trajectories and launches.
Yes, I think I zoomed in.
Let's see. Really quick, Plush Vader, thank you so much for becoming a launch director. That is one of our higher levels of support. You get Discord access with that level of support. So when you pop into our Discord, when that propagates for you, I'll say hey with my customary Forrest Gump gif. But seriously, thank you so much for the support. Cannot reiterate enough that the membership program is key to doing what we're doing. What can I say? We like sending people all around the world to various launch sites. I mean, we sent Chris to French Guiana. We have teams on either coast of the U.S. And sure enough, DOS is volunteer distribute to go to the Bahamas at some point in the future. I think that would be really cool. I mean, let's be real. That would be awesome if you were able to get a shot from down there, DOS.
Yeah, absolutely.
James Juries, thanks for the support. Ron Smith, thank you for the support. Asking what non-rocket commercial space project are you all most excited about? That's a really tough question. I guess James Webb, for me. Adrian, what non-rocket commercial space project are you excited about?
It's James Webb commercial though.
I don't think so. I mean,
No, it's not.
Yeah, so I would say James Webb. Yay.
I would need time to think about this.
Okay, yeah, like I said, it's a hard question.
Sorry.
If anyone
Yeah.
else has a favorite they want to chime in with, Chris or Das.
Favorite commercial? Non-rocket?
Non-rocket commercial space project. Oh, so I can't say James Webb because it's not commercial.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right.
Now I catch up.
Non-rocket commercial that I'm really excited about.
I mean, orbital reef sounds pretty cool if that actually ends up becoming a thing. I like more space stations.
Yeah, actually, the space station expansions. Yeah, which are all commercial, actually, on the U.S. side of things. Yeah, the space station expansions. That's my answer.
Cool deal. Anybody else
I will
want to
steal
chime
that
in on
answer. No,
Yeah,
I
I
will
mean-
steal that answer.
Do it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Still Win, thanks for the support. They say, hey, hit the like button. Thanks so much. Typewriters and Tubas, thank you for the support. They say, hoping to see a Falcon Heavy launch this year. Will either of them have RTLS side booster landings? What is the profiles expected for the... I mean, there's like 5 Falcon Heavies that could potentially go this year, but what's going on with
Yeah,
that?
there are quite a... Yeah, there are a few. Landing profile for USSF 44 is not going to do you any good if you want to actually see them. The center core is being expended, and the 2 side cores will land on the 2 drone ships downrange and then come back to port. Following that, the next one that we know for certain that has like a very well-confirmed launch date because it's interplanetary is the Psyche mission. interplanetary destinations. And that one is a Falcon Heavy as well. That is a dual return to launch site for the side cores and a drone ship scheduled landing for the central core. Beyond that, a lot of the Falcon Heavy missions that are on the manifest are return to launch sites for the two side cores, but not all of them.
Very cool. Thank you for that answer, Chris. Let's see. Here's one we can do real quick. Matthias is asking, what's the origin of 5x5? That's an old radio lingo thing. The first 5 is for loudness, and the second 5 is for clarity. So if we're not that loud, but we're coming through clear, you would say like 2x5. But 5x5 is maximum loudness, maximum clarity. Das, did I get that right?
I think so. I was going to believe you if you hadn't questioned yourself. I'm just like, oh, nice, Jack knows.
Oh, I always question myself. I don't know if you know this about me. Always. Let's see. Torsten, thank you for the support. Jack LaRue, thank you for the support. Also, good name there. Good name you got there, Jack. How optimistic are you all on Starship launching from Boca in 2022? I'm going to say 50-50. And that is not very optimistic, I suppose. Adrian, how optimistic are you?
I went on a record in an Nsf Live and said I expect to see multiple Starship launches this year. So since I'm kind of stubborn, I will stick with that and say I think it will launch this year.
All right, highly optimistic on Adrian's side. Chris, how optimistic are you?
I'll land more on the side of yes. We'll have flights this year.
Das?
We better.
Yeah.
Right? We got so spoiled with all of those test flights of Starship, and it was so fun to see those with your own eyes, and so fun to cover them as an organization. And now they're just like, come on, fly some Starship stuff. But I digress. As we see more Pelicans fly by, and one dive for food. Oh, I hope you get it, buddy. We are just over 10 minutes from launch of a Falcon 9, not of a Starship, from LC-39A. Okay, wait, I got to derail for a second again. If SLC-40 is pronounced Slick 40, do we just say Lick 39A?
Oh my gosh.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm
Look,
sorry.
It's the VAB, not the VAB, okay?
I say VAB. Am I wrong? I should stop doing that if I am.
Every now and then somebody from NASA gets on my case, like, it's actually VAB. Nobody here calls it VAB. And I'm like, well, I got it from Kerbal, not from you, so it's VAB to me. I was going to say, Jack, it's hilarious because if this was an official NASA stream and there was a Pelican, NASA would launch into... And surrounding Kennedy Space Center is a wildlife refuge. There are all these prepared graphics about the wildlife refuge and preservation and stuff. And on our stream, we're like, oh, look, there goes a pelican diving for lunch. I hope you get it, buddy. Moving right along. Like, we don't have any prepared history of the wildlife refuge or anything. It's just like, good luck, little guy.
I mean...
That's why you have me on here.
Sure enough. Thank you, Chris, for your wealth of knowledge balancing out my weird... Yay, Pelican, go Pelican.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah, thank you. We'll go with that. We'll go with enthusiasm. Let's see. HJB is asking, how many Falcon 9 launches so far this year? Chris, you said that at the start of the stream. What is this,
Oh,
6?
I'm sorry, audio hicked up. This will be the 6th launch of the year out of Florida, yes.
And Falcon 9 launches, is this number 6?
This is also number 6, yes. We have had 4 Falcons and 1 Atlas from here so far this year. So this will be the 6th overall, and then 1 Falcon from Vandenberg yesterday.
Cool. And Nisa, thank you so much for the support. They say, are recovery ships Bob and Doug named in honor of Bennikin and Hurley? And yes, I believe that is the case.
Yes.
That is indeed true.
David Shepard is asking, when is the first Falcon Heavy launch this year? Do we know that yet?
It is.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Adrian. Sorry.
As far as I know, it's net March, right? Like, it's currently scheduled for not earlier than March.
Yes.
But besides that, we don't know anything when USS 44 will launch.
Very cool. I'm excited for another Falcon Heavy. I mean, heavy rockets are awesome. Let's see. Bob Kaplinger asking, do they use the same strongback for Falcon Heavy? And I believe they do, right? They just modify that reaction frame that holds the rocket. Is that the case, Chris?
That is exactly correct. Yeah. So on either side of the Falcon 9 today, if you're looking at the pad, east and west, right, there are two little clamps that help hold the Falcon 9 to the launch pad when it's in its single stick configuration. Those little east-west side mounts are on removable plates in the reaction frame. So all you have to do is take them out, and it becomes a Falcon Heavy mounting reaction frame, and put them back in, and it becomes a Falcon 9 mounting reaction frame. And they can do that in about 7 days if they needed to. They could reconfigure from a Heavy to a Falcon or a Falcon to a Heavy in about 7 days if they needed to.
Nifty. Good question there from Bob. Here's another question I'm going to ask Chris, and it's that James Atkinson is asking, is this a sun-synchronized orbit or not? Also, what is sun sync when you talk about that? This is not, right?
Oh, great question. No, yeah, exactly right. This is not a sun-synchronous orbit. So this is just what's known as a highly inclined orbit. So sun-synchronous orbits are usually in the 96 to 98 degree inclination, with altitudes between 550 and 750 kilometers. The altitude sort of depends on exactly what the satellite is being tasked with doing and what its overall orbital perigee and apogee are. To get you that orbital period. But basically what it means is once the satellite is placed into that sun-synchronous orbit, whatever the repetition time on the ground, so let's take the Kennedy Space Center, right? Let's say the satellite is launched and the first time it passes over the Kennedy Space Center is at 12 noon local solar time, when the sun is directly overhead. It will subsequently, every time it passes over the Kennedy Space Center, pass over at local solar noon. When it comes by on that either ascending or descending corridor, where it's either going up toward the North Pole or down toward the South Pole in its orbit. And that's basically what sun synchronous means. It just locks the satellite into passing over the same area at the same sun angles every time it passes over that area. And that can be anywhere from passing over every single day to passing over once every 4 days. And that's where your altitude difference comes into play.
And what is the advantage of having the sun angle the same every time you pass over? Is that like a good thing for optical purposes when you're taking photos of the Earth, or what is the need for that?
Oh, a fantastic follow-up question. It is so that you don't have to account for, wait, is that a shadow that wasn't present in the other one? Does that mean something moved? Was our viewing angle slightly different? Was the sun different? It basically just allows you to do direct comparison of photographs. So if something changes, you know something has physically changed on the ground, because your shadows will always be the same.
You could also, looking at shadows, like if you're looking at aerial photographs or satellite photographs, shadows are actually a really good indication of how tall things are, like when they're sticking up above the ground. If you're looking straight down, a really tall tower might not look like much, but if the sun is low in the sky and you sort of synchronize when the sun is low, that tall tower or structure will cast a long shadow and be a lot more obvious that it's down there. So all sorts of cool tricks with determining when you're going to be there and what the angle of the lighting is going to be based on what you can see.
Indeed. I think I said it on, the CSG2 stream a couple days ago. I was like, it's crazy what you can discern just from shadows from orbit.
I know, right? I probably got time for one more question if there was one from me, Jack, before I'll hop off comms here to track the rocket now that we're under 4 minutes.
I don't know if this is going to be in the answerable category, but Robbie Rob has an interesting question asking, are there any Starlink satellites without a sunshade up in orbit still, or have those all been replaced at this point? Do you know, Chris?
That is a fantastic question for Jonathan McDowell and for us to get back to you with.
Very cool. All right, well, I think with that, Chris, we will let you hop off comms and get the camera configured for launch.
Sounds good. I will rejoin you after liftoff.
Awesome. Good luck with the track. I know you're going to do great.
Enjoy tracking.
You say that, Adrian, but it's extremely stressful.
I mean, I would enjoy it, but I can't do it all the time, so...
It's also lots of fun, but yes, it can be extremely stressful, because we know, when you're holding the camera and you're pointing it at a rocket and everybody is watching the stream, you know that is, your feed is responsible for what everybody sees, so...
Oh,
no
I'm
pressure,
sure we're helping Chris. Yeah,
don't listen to us,
helping
Chris. Oh, God. Really quick, as we get closer to launch and Chris gets that the rocket, gets the camera configured for the launch. Just want to say thank you to all I see all the people who are super chatting and everything. We will, oh my gosh, really quickly, Meaningless, thank you so much for the support. And they say, oh my gosh, I just read the message. It says, in memory of my son, who would have been 5 today. So thank you, Meaningless, for the support. Yeah, there's nothing that I can say that is appropriate. But thank you for the support, and we hope you are enjoying the stream, and our levity is able to bring a smile to your face on a sad day for you. Let's see. And here's another one. Paul Lamadeline, thank you so much for the support. They say, is that 3 Falcon launches in less than a week? Is that a record for SpaceX? I think that is, if I'm not mistaken.
I have no idea, to be totally honest here.
There we go.
But
We have that final purge of the lines on the transporter erector. That is a good sign. That is good venting.
good venting. I like that phrase.
Now, if only we could get a little snippet of mission control audio of somebody saying it, that would be like the coolest thing.
How about some splashy, splishing waves here?
I like splashy, splishing waves. And of course, we're going to, and by we I mean I, am going to shut my mouth as we go into launch here so y'all can hear the awesome sound of 9 Merlin engines powering a payload into orbit, or 49 payloads into orbit. So as we get closer here, just under a minute to go for a launch out of 39A, 49 Starlink satellites.
And hopefully a successful landing.
Yep, landing on drone ship Shortfall of Gravitas, downrange near the Bahamas.
I like how at like T-minus 60 seconds we go into golf mode.
I know, right? Now here you can see the Falcon 9 I'll stop.
Oh god.
30 seconds, roughly. Stephen Marr in the back channel saying Chris Gebhardt is on internal power. Ten seconds.
Good luck, B1061.
And liftoff. That is 49 Starlink satellites out of 39A on their way into orbit. That was max Q, although I'm not listening to the nets, so I'm not sure, but that's typically what max Q looks like.
This burn will go on until 2 minutes and 32 seconds.
So just around a minute more to go on that burn. People ask me what it's like to see a rocket launch in person. And the audio from our streams is a really good way to get a feel for what it sounds like. And it can be described as nothing short of just the sound of air being ripped apart. It's just such a tremendous sound. And then you get the reverberations as well as the rocket climbs higher and higher. It just sounds like there's people with a whole bunch of bass drums like 20 miles away just pounding the crap out of them. I mean, it's hard to describe, but I'm glad that the audio on our streams is somewhat sufficient to convey that air-tearing sound. Coming up on first stage shutdown in about 20 seconds. You can see the exhaust plume from the 9 Merlin engines has expanded in the upper atmosphere. Always love the way that looks.
We go stage step. And yes.
There we have stage set. Look at that shot on the right. Keep your eyes on it. Look for that booster. It's getting a little bit roasted by the second stage. You can see the stiffener ring come off that Merlin vac engine.
That was a very loud liftoff of the payload fairing field.
It sounded great, Chris. Yep, and then we have pairing payload. Oh my god, my brain. Fairing payload SEP. Payload fairing. I can't talk. I just saw a rocket launch. I'm riding the adrenaline wave. Forgive me. There, and you can see the first stage coming back to Earth to land on a short fall of gravitas, while the second stage does the work of powering those Starlink satellites into orbit. How was that, Chris?
Oh, it was incredible. That was one of the loudest there's been for a liftoff. Really visceral. And what I love too about these liftoffs is right still here.
Yeah, you're coming through pretty quiet, Chris. Maybe do the old turn it off and on again trick.
Yes. Did that work?
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it worked.
Turning it on and off again worked. Yeah, no, that was very loud, very visceral, really nice. And what I love is I can still hear the crackling of those first stage engines on the ground here, even though they stopped firing a long time ago. I just it's incredible what you get to experience with one of these liftoffs. Yeah.
Absolutely. Super cool. It's crazy how, depending on the day, certain conditions, certain atmospheric conditions renders the sound, significantly different than another launch. Out of the same launch site, from the same distance, the same rocket, just day to day, you might get some extra spice, we'll say, on the sound there. So I'm glad you had a good one today.
Indeed. And what about yours yesterday, Jack?
It was excellent. It was absolutely excellent. The sonic booms from an RTLS will never get old. The old triple boom. Oh my gosh. It's just great.
Indeed it is. And speaking of great, it looks like everything from the velocity indicators and the altitude indicators that we've got on both sides of our screen here appearing to be very baseline normal in what we would expect for a Starlink mission headed on a southbound trajectory out of here.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Yeah, at this point, it's such a cool feeling that it feels normal to land a rocket with a SpaceX launch. Like it's not the nail biting anymore, where you just sit there and hope it lands. It's just I hope this will go well.
And something else that I've thought about too recently too, and I'm glad to see it, because we certainly got there, with the previous reusable vehicle that we had. But I also like that it's sort of just like the question is like, oh yeah, what number is this booster on? And when it's a low number, it's like, oh, weird. Like, but I really, like there's a credit to be given to the development of the reusability technology here, where that's not a factor in what a lot of people think going into missions anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we are at the point where when people see the completely white and new Falcon 9, they are confused sometimes because it is new.
I mean, I can definitely speak to that. Having seen a new booster yesterday, it's odd how a new booster, which is previously was normal, now feels like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's a new booster, like no marks on it, and it hasn't been reused yet. It's just amazing how they've been able to sort of change the paradigm.
Indeed. And we should be coming up here on our entry burn, if I am not mistaken. We're down below 70 kilometers in altitude now for that first stage, so should be seeing those 3 Merlins ignite here momentarily.
Yeah, should be in like 2-3 seconds. There it is.
There we go.
Perfect, Adrian. Play the lottery tonight.
I mean, some people have the timeline here on their right screen, I would say.
And again, this is that procedure that uses fire to fight fire. This is, you can see the velocity of the booster dropping rapidly, slowing it down, reducing the heat that it is exposed to as it screams back into the atmosphere like this. And then that burn done, so it is now aiming itself for a position just off of a shortfall of gravitas. And then that landing burn, just like we saw yesterday at Vandenberg and earlier this week at Kennedy and the Cape, that landing burn, once that engine reignites, will then aim the booster for the drone ship.
We're getting a little bit of glitching on the SpaceX camera there, but that shot, you could really see due to those clouds that the booster was coming up on that, I mean, it's coming in fast, and that landing burn is sort of a last-second thing, and it's going to cancel out all that remaining velocity, but that was a cool shot.
It really is, because Jack, you got to experience this yesterday, but I mean, the boosters come back in almost directly above you, and they come back a lot faster than you would think.
Yeah, they really haul the mail. It's crazy.
It's always when, like, these moments when you remember they cannot hover with these. They need to be at zero at exactly the same moment.
Yeah, they have to hit zero altitude and zero velocity at the same exact moment because, like you said, they can't hover. The Merlin engine is just too powerful for an empty Falcon 9. It would not have the thrust to weight ratio. And oh, look at that, booster's coming in.
Here we go. There's the drone ship.
Look out for leg deploy.
Oh, the legs started to pop out there.
Let's see if we get an updated feed of the booster on the ship here in a couple moments. But that looked like a nominal landing.
There it is.
Bingo.
Inside the inner ring too. Look at that.
Love it.
Very good. There is booster 1061 on the drone ship, and stage 2 has also entered orbit, traveling just over 27,000 kilometers an hour as it prepares to pass over Hispaniola. There in the Caribbean. So a successful ascent to orbit for the Falcon 9. So a bit of a coast, and then we will have Starlink deployment, right, Adrian?
Yeah, we will have Starlink deployment according to the timeline at 15 minutes and 31 seconds.
15 minutes, 31 seconds. So about 8 minutes from now, right?
Yeah, sometimes, what should be said here, sometimes the timeline, what SpaceX publishes, is not 100% what happens on in these broadcasts, so we will see. But I think there's a great shot that we always love, right? Here, right now.
There is a good shot that we all love, yes. Das, I think this is your favorite shot on launch day.
Of course, we're looking at the empty launch pad. There is well, that's not the empty launch pad anymore. That's the full landing pad. They just moved that rocket from the empty launch pad to the full landing pad. So that's what we like to see. I guess you could go either way. You could say you like to see the rocket standing on the drone ship there, too. So,
yeah. Watch the simple trick to move a rocket 600 kilometers.
Game over.
Just haul it over the Bahamas.
Yeah. Is it just me?
So
Those
easy.
shots from the drone ship look like it was pretty wavy out there. I feel like I could sort of see the deck pitching a little bit. That was interesting.
That wouldn't have been overly surprising. So while the weather forecast for liftoff was 80% chance of good weather, which we obviously got, the landing weather was actually moderate today for winds. So not overly surprising that it was a bit choppy out there in that part of the Atlantic today.
we'll have to see if when that comes back into the port, it's still dead center in the circle like that. We've seen those waves sort of walk them across the deck some as they come back in. They're not always in the exact same position as when we see them land. So,
sure enough, we'll have to keep our eyes on it. Hopefully it doesn't do a B-1069 and hurt itself. Really quickly, I just want to run through. Andrea, thank you so much for becoming a Capcom member. We really appreciate it. Again, membership program gets you various perks. Capcom members and above get Discord access. So, Andrea, pop into our Discord and say, hey, we could not do what we do without our members, so thank you all so much. I see a bunch of other super chats here. Thank you to everybody who did super chats. Parker, thank you so much. They said they saw NRO87 from On Base. Holy cow. Thank you so much for the kind words. West Polar Corridor, best polar corridor. Cool. I think with that, With that, I think we can say, no objections there. West best. Okay, cool. That was our broadcast for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm just going to continue to poke the bear here, but I am Jack Byer with NASA Spaceflight. I'm your host for today. I hope you enjoyed our antics. And of course, I super appreciate the support from everybody today. And also, joining me today, it was Adrian Bile. Adrian, thank you for the informed commentary to balance out my wackiness.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, and you can see Adrian's info there in the top right. Also, joining us in the field, operating a camera, Chris Gebhardt. Chris, also thank you for your informed commentary.
My absolute pleasure. A joy to be here, and wow, 3 for 3 this week. Very nice.
Sure enough, the end-of-year launch number from SpaceX is going to be pretty impressive, methinks. So thank you, Chris, for rolling out there and getting us that awesome track. Also joining us in the studio was Das. Das, thank you so much for putting up with me and drawing us a sweet Venn diagram.
Hey, if I draw one thing per stream, I'm doing good. So we can mark this one as done.
Excellent. Very cool. You can see Das's info there. Everybody's info popping up, as I mentioned. Michael Baylor in the background, pushing levers, pulling buttons. Oh my gosh, I can't talk anymore. I'm just going to stop. Thank you, Michael, for everything that you do. We also could not do what we do without you. So awesome work, as usual. And in the field as well, I believe we had Stephen Marr. But Stephen was not on comms. But thank you, Stephen, also for doing what you do. You can see
he is editing photos, so you should have some good liftoff photos in a moment.
Awesome, I know the feeling. So everybody go follow Stephen on Twitter. Follow all of us on Twitter if you don't already. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I think with that, we will let you go hang out at Starbase Live and or Fleet Cam. Take your pick. We have 2 24/7 live streams. So that is that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Later, nerds.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCP chamber pressure looks good. Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers can fly!
Ego Delta nominal.
Flight downside, speed off. Bring in, NC off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.